The rescue on Zelvar 9. The wind on Zelvar 9 was sharp and full of poison. The sky was dark red and ash floated like snow. No one lived here, not by choice. But Ethan Kane had a job to do. He was a repair engineer from Earth, sent with a mining crew to fix broken equipment. Today, though, he wasn't fixing machines. He was searching for life. A distress signal had gone off early that morning. It came from a crashed alien shuttle, 5 kilometers from his station. Ethan put on his suit, grabbed his oxygen tanks and drove his rover into the dead zone, his heartbeat fast. Probably nothing, he whispered. Maybe a false signal. But when he reached the crash site, he froze. The shuttle was ripped open. Metal bent like paper. Smoke hissed from broken wires. He stepped out, boots crunching on black sand. Cautiously, he walked around the wreckage, until he saw something. A body. No, someone was alive. It was a girl. Not human. She was lying in the dust, curled up, barely breathing. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly, and she had delicate features, almost like a sculpture. Her long silver hair was tangled and full of dust. Her fingers twitched weakly. Ethan dropped beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her eyes opened just a little. They were big and deep violet, but her mouth couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. He checked the readings on her body. Oxygen level was almost 0. Without thinking, Ethan did something dangerous. He took off his own oxygen mask and pressed it to her face. "Breathe," he said. At first, nothing. Then, a gasp. Her chest rose. She sucked in air desperately, hands clawing at the mask. Her body shook. Ethan watched her, holding the mask steady. She was alive, barely, but now he couldn't breathe. His vision blurred. His head felt light. A warning beep echoed in his ear. "Oxygen levels critical," his suit said. Still, he waited until she took a few more breaths. Then he pulled the mask back and gasped in fresh air from a backup valve. "Close one," he muttered. The alien girl blinked slowly. She looked confused, then scared. She pushed herself up weakly, trying to crawl away. "No, it's okay," Ethan said, holding up his hands. "I'm not your enemy." Her voice was soft and shaky. "Why did you give me your breath?" He smiled a little. "Because you were dying." She stared at him like no one had ever said that before. Suddenly, a loud buzzing sound echoed through the sky. Ethan turned. Black drones flew above the wreck, scanning with red lights. A voice echoed in a robotic language he couldn't understand. The girl's eyes widened in terror. "They came to finish me." Ethan grabbed her arm. "We need to move. Can you walk?" She nodded weakly. He helped her up. Her legs trembled, but she leaned against him. Together, they stumbled toward the rover. The drones spotted them. Red lasers targeted their backs. "Go, go, go," Ethan shouted. He pushed her into the rover and jumped in after. The drones fired, but the rover's shield held. He hit the gas. The rover roared across the rocky land, kicking up dust. The drones chased them for a while, then turned back. Ethan let out a breath. The alien girl was sitting beside him, wrapped in a blanket. Her body still shook. She looked at him with wide, unsure eyes. "Who are you?" "Ethan," he said. "From Earth." "I am Celira." She said it like her name carried meaning. Maybe it did. Ethan looked at her. "Celira, why were you left there? Who wanted you dead?" She looked down. Her voice was barely a whisper. "My own people. My blood is dangerous." Ethan didn't understand, but he didn't push. They rode in silence for a while. Then she asked something strange. "You shared breath with me. Why would you bond yourself so quickly?" Ethan blinked. "Bond? What do you mean?" "In my culture, to share your life breath with another means you accept them as your mate." He stared at her. "What?" She nodded slowly. "You gave your breath to save mine. I am yours now, if you choose. Ethan didn't know what to say, but deep down something told him. This was just the beginning. Ethan had never been more confused in his life. After escaping the crash site, he brought Celira to the outpost's underground shelter. The medical scanner confirmed she was stable now. She still looked weak, but her eyes were sharper and her breathing had returned to normal. Ethan handed her a cup of water. You should drink. Celira held the cup carefully, as if it were made of crystal. You are kind human. No one ever risked their life for me. He chuckled. Guess you've been around the wrong crowd. She tilted her head, not understanding the joke, but smiled anyway. Then came the noise, a deep rumbling from above. Not thunder, something heavier. Ethan checked the security feed. A ship. No, 3. Large and black, shaped like sharp wings, hovering just above the shelter. Oh no. He muttered. You said someone wanted you dead, right? Celira stood up fast, even though her legs were still shaky. They found me. Before Ethan could respond, a loud voice echoed from outside. Celira of House Virex, surrender yourself. Your bond has been witnessed. Bring your mate, and no harm will come. Ethan blinked. Wait. They mean me? She nodded slowly. They tracked my life signs. They know I survived. Because of you. The door pounded once, then again. Celira stepped forward and touched Ethan's arm gently. I will speak for us. Us? He asked. She just smiled and walked out. Ethan followed her, heart pounding. Outside, several tall alien warriors in silver armor waited beside their ship. Their skin was pale like hers, but their expressions were cold and proud. When they saw Celira, they knelt. One of them spoke. You live. The air breathes again. She was their princess? Ethan whispered. Celira raised her voice. Yes, I live, because of this human. He is my mate. He gave me his breath. He is bound to me by sacred right. The crowd stirred. The warrior leader stood. You dare declare the breath bond with a Terran? It was real, Celira said firmly. He gave without asking. I accepted. The rite is complete. All eyes turned to Ethan. He raised his hand awkwardly. Hi. I didn't know that's what I was doing. The warriors looked angry. One stepped forward. A human cannot be prince. This bond is not valid. Celira stepped between them. Would you dishonor the old laws in public? The warrior froze. Another elder stepped from the ship. He looked older, his hair almost white. We will not break the law, but there must be proof. The human must pass the rite of standing. He must be worthy of you. Ethan frowned. What's the rite of standing? Celira looked at him, her face calm but her eyes full of worry. It is a test. 3 trials. Strength, wisdom, heart. Ethan laughed nervously. I'm just a repair tech, not some hero. The elder spoke again. You shared breath with the heir of Virex. That makes you more than a hero. It makes you part of our future. He paused. Fail, and your bond is broken. You will be cast out. She returns alone. Ethan looked at Celira. She whispered, You don't have to do this. He thought for a moment. Then he said softly, I didn't let you die back there. I'm not leaving you now. The elder nodded. So be it. The trials begin tomorrow. The crowd parted. The path was clear, but so was the danger. Ethan looked up at the sky, the stars blinking above Zelvar 9's red clouds. He was just a human who came to fix machines now. He was about to prove himself worthy of an alien princess, or die trying. The sun on Zelvar 9 didn't shine. It burned, a dull, angry red that made the sky feel heavy. Ethan stood inside a circular chamber made of black stone. This was the Hall of Trials, a sacred place. He looked around. The air was hot. Strange, symbols glowed on the walls. Alien guards watched him silently from all sides. They didn't trust him. He could feel it. Celira stood beside him, her long silver hair tied back, her eyes filled with worry. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "I already said I would," Ethan replied softly. "And I don't break promises." A tall alien stepped forward. He wore golden armor unlike the others. His face was calm but cold. "I am Judge Vornar. I will oversee the right of standing. The trials begin now." Celira stepped forward. "Wait." The judge frowned. "Speak, heir of Virex." Celira hesitated. Then she looked at Ethan and said, "He should know the truth before he begins." "What truth?" Ethan asked, confused. She turned to face him fully, her voice low. "I'm not just a princess, Ethan. I'm something more." He raised an eyebrow. "Like what? Queen?" She shook her head. "My blood is part of the old line. The royal family was built from something ancient, not just power, ability, a gift, a curse. I don't know." "Judge," Vornar interrupted. "She speaks of the true blood, a secret kept from most, even among our kind." Celira continued. "My body can merge with another through breath, fully, forever. My bond with you is deeper than just a promise. My strength will one day flow through you, and your soul may flow through me." Ethan stepped back. "Wait, what? You mean this is like permanent? Stronger than marriage," she said. "More than love. It's soul-binding." He looked at her, unsure. "What happens if I pass the trials?" "You become one with me," she said. "Forever. Our minds will connect. Our hearts will share emotion. You will feel what I feel. And if I fail?" Celira looked away. "The bond will break, and my people will erase all memory of you from my soul. You will be a ghost inside me. A void." Ethan's stomach turned. "That's intense." Judge Vornar spoke again. "The first trial begins now. Strength, step into the ring." 2 guards opened a large iron gate. Inside, the ground was cracked stone, and in the center stood a beast. It was massive, 4 arms, thick gray skin, and glowing eyes. Ethan froze. "Are you serious?" "The beast will not kill you," said Vornar, "but it will crush you unless you prove worthy." Celira touched Ethan's hand. "You don't have to win. Just stand. Don't fall." He nodded, took a deep breath, and stepped into the ring. The gate closed behind him. The beast roared and charged. Ethan ran. It swiped at him with heavy arms. He ducked, rolled, and scrambled behind a pillar. The stone cracked as the beast slammed it with a fist. "Okay," Ethan muttered. "Can't fight it, so wear it down." He began to dodge, left, right, dive, duck, spin. Every time the beast missed, it grew angrier. It chased him harder. But Ethan kept moving. Minutes passed. The crowd watched silently. Celira's fists were clenched. Her eyes followed his every step. Then Ethan saw something. The beast's knees bent low. It was breathing heavily. Now or never. He picked up a broken stone piece and threw it at the beast's face. It roared again and charged blindly. Ethan jumped aside. The beast crashed into the wall and didn't rise. Judge Vornar stood. "He did not fall. The first trial is past," the crowd murmured. Ethan limped out of the ring, sweating and bruised, but standing. Celira ran to him. "You did it," he smiled weakly. 1 down, 2 to go. Judge Vornar raised his hand. "He has proven strength. Tomorrow he must prove wisdom. And after that, heart." But someone in the crowd didn't clap. A figure in dark robes whispered, "He must not survive the next trial. The royal blood must remain pure." The next morning on Zelvar 9 was colder than usual. Thin frost covered the ground, and silence hung in the air like a warning. Ethan stood at the edge of a large stone platform surrounded by glowing pillars. This was the place of the second trial, wisdom. But something felt wrong. Celira stood nearby, guarded and silent. She tried to smile at Ethan, but he saw fear in her eyes. Judge Vornar stepped forward again. Today, you face the second trial. Wisdom. You must enter the mirror maze of minds. Inside you will face illusions, questions, and choices. Make the wrong ones, and you may never come out. Ethan frowned. So it's like a puzzle? The judge's voice was firm. No, it's your own mind turned against you. A soft humming sound rose from the pillars as a door in the stone floor opened. Mist poured out. Ethan stepped in. The door shut behind him. Inside it was dark. Then, light. The walls were mirrors. Thousands of reflections of him stretched endlessly. Every step he took, 100 Ethans moved with him. A voice echoed around him. It wasn't Judge Vornar. It wasn't Selira, it was his own voice. Why did you save her, Ethan? He turned. No one there. Was it for love? Or were you just playing hero? He shook his head. She was dying. Another voice came. This time it was Selira's. Soft, sweet, but twisted. You don't belong here, human. You don't understand our ways. You will only bring me shame. No, Ethan whispered. She never said that. That's not her. The mirror next to him showed Selira crying, "You will leave me, like the others." He closed his eyes. No, I stayed. I'm still here. The floor shifted beneath him. A path opened, 3 tunnels ahead, each lit with a different color, blue, red, and green. A voice whispered, "Only one leads to truth, one leads to pain, one leads to endless lies." Ethan took a breath. Think. He remembered Selira's words. You don't have to win, just stand. He closed his eyes and listened. From the red path he heard shouting. From the green, laughter. But from the blue, silence. He walked toward the blue. As he entered, the mirrors changed. Now they showed his childhood. His first flight. The moment he first stepped on Zelvar 9. Then, Selira's face when he gave her the oxygen mask. He smiled. Then the final mirror appeared. It showed himself, but older. Standing beside Selira, holding her hand, a crown on her head. I want that future, he whispered. The path opened. He stepped through, and sunlight hit his face. The trial was over. Judge Vornar nodded. He has passed the maze of minds. The crowd was silent. Then, slowly, they bowed. Even those who hated him had to admit, he had faced his own soul and didn't break. Selira ran to him, her hands shaking as they touched his face. You found your way back, he nodded. Wasn't easy. But something changed in that moment. He wasn't just a human anymore. Not in their eyes. He was something more. But high above them, inside one of the hovering ships, someone watched from the shadows. A female alien, in royal black robes, turned to her guard. He is passing every trial. We cannot allow this bond. The guard asked, should we act before the final test? She narrowed her eyes. Yes, before the trial of heart, we will test the pain of betrayal. Down below, Ethan felt the cold wind shift. The final trial was coming, and someone would make sure he didn't survive it. Ethan sat alone in his chamber, staring at the stars through a crystal window. The room was quiet. Too quiet. A strange feeling pressed on his chest. Tomorrow was the final trial. Heart. But something was off. He kept hearing whispers in the halls. Guards looked at him, then looked away. Even Selira hadn't come to see him that evening. That wasn't like her. He touched the pendant she gave him before the trials began. It warmed slightly at his touch, like it still carried her breath. Then, a knock. He stood up, expecting Selira, but it wasn't her. A servant girl dressed in dark blue stepped in. Her eyes were wide and frightened. She handed him a small folded paper and said in a whisper, Don't let them see I was here." Before he could ask anything, she slipped out the door and vanished. Ethan unfolded the note. It read, "She's in danger. They poisoned her food. She's dying quietly, so you will fail tomorrow. Come to the old prayer hall. Alone." His heart stopped. He ran. The old prayer hall was outside the main palace walls, dark, abandoned, covered in vines. A single light burned inside. Ethan stepped in slowly, and then he saw her. Celira was on the floor, leaning against a broken pillar. Her skin had lost its glow. Her eyes were dull. She was breathing, but only barely. "Celira." He dropped to her side. She smiled weakly. "You came." He held her. "Who did this to you?" She coughed, her voice cracking. "The high blood. My aunt. She feared the bond. She couldn't stop the trials, so she tried to stop me." Ethan felt rage burning inside him. "I'll get help." "No," Celira said, grabbing his wrist. "They'll cover it up. They'll say I was too weak, and if I die before the last trial, they'll say you failed the bond." Ethan stared at her. "There has to be something I can do." Her eyes met his. "There is. You can share your breath one last time." His hands shook. "You mean give you my oxygen again?" She nodded slowly. "It may not save me fully, but it will buy time. Enough to finish the final trial." He looked down at her. This alien woman who once lay dying in the dust, the one he saved without thinking, now he had to save her again. He took a deep breath, removed his oxygen mask and placed it over her mouth. Her body trembled, then relaxed. A soft glow returned to her skin. "I won't let you go," he whispered. "Not like this." But someone was watching. Behind the stone pillar, a figure in black armor pressed a button on a wrist device. He shared breath again. "That confirms the soul bond." A voice answered coldly. "Then we must act before dawn. Kill the girl. Blame the human. Make him the enemy." "Yes, Lady Virexa." Ethan carried Celira back in his arms. Her breathing was still shallow, but she was awake. The healers tried to stop him, but he pushed through the guards. "She was poisoned," he said loudly. "She needs help now." The hall fell silent. One of the elders stepped forward, looking alarmed. Judge Vornar appeared behind him. "Who did this?" Ethan pointed at the crest drawn into the note. "Someone from House Virexa. The same bloodline that left her to die before." A wave of shock moved through the crowd. Vornar looked at the other elders. "There will be an inquiry, but for now, she lives. The bond still holds." He turned to Ethan. "You have one trial left. Tomorrow, heart. But I warn you, human, it is the most dangerous." Ethan looked down at Celira, now resting in a stasis bed. He had faced beasts, illusions, lies, and now betrayal. But the final trial would test not just his will, but the very truth of his bond. And those who wanted him gone still had one last move to play. The next morning, the palace was silent, not from peace, but from tension. Everyone waited. In the center of the ceremonial courtyard, a golden platform had been built overnight. It shimmered with strange energy. Hovering crystals pulsed with light. This was the site of the final trial, the trial of heart. But Celira was still in recovery, her body weak, her voice fading. And Ethan stood alone. Judge Vornar addressed the silent crowd. "The final trial is not a test of strength or mind. It is a test of truth. A heart may speak lies, but the bond never does. The trial of heart demands sacrifice." A healer stepped forward and whispered to Ethan, "Celira's condition is worsening. If you fail, she may die. And if she dies during the trial, your breath bond will tear your soul with it." Ethan stared at the floating platform. He whispered, "What do I need to do?" Judge Vornar's eyes glowed. "Step into the circle of breaths. You will enter her spirit. If your bond is false, you'll fall into darkness. If it's real, you'll find her and bring her back. The platform lit up. Ethan stepped into the circle. Suddenly, light exploded around him. His body froze. His mind sank. And then, nothing. He opened his eyes in a world of silver and blue. He was no longer on Zelvar 9. He stood in Celira's mind. Strange winds blew. Glowing flowers floated in the air. The ground was made of mist. The sky pulsed with memories. He saw them. Fragments of her life. A little Celira, crying as her mother disappeared into a burning ship. Her aunt whispering, "You are only a tool for power." A cage, a crown, an empty room, loneliness, pain, then him, his face, offering the oxygen mask, his hand reaching out in the dust, his voice saying, "Breathe." Ethan followed the path of light through the memory forest. "Celira," he called. "Where are you?" No answer. The path split. One way glowed blue. The other, dark red. A voice echoed from the shadows. "She doesn't want you anymore." It was his own voice again, but twisted. "You're just a human. You don't belong here. She's better off without you." Ethan clenched his fists. "She chose me," the voice hissed. "She had to. You gave her breath. She had no choice." Ethan stepped forward. "No, she stayed. She believed. That was her choice." He walked toward the red path, toward the fear. And there, he saw her. Celira stood alone in the middle of a red storm, hair blowing wildly, eyes lost in sorrow. She didn't see him at first. He ran to her. "Celira, it's me." She turned slowly. "Why, are you here?" "You pulled me into your heart," he said, stepping closer. "And I'm here to pull you out." "I'm not strong enough anymore," she whispered. "I can't walk beside you." "The bond, it's fading." He reached out. "Then I'll carry it for both of us." The storm howled. The ground cracked. Celira's eyes widened. "If we stay here too long, the link will collapse. We'll both vanish." "Then come with me," he said. "Take my breath again, one last time." She cried, stepping into his arms. They kissed, soft glowing light between them. And in that moment, the world around them changed. The red faded. The sky turned blue. Their bodies glowed with silver threads, intertwining. The bond was whole. Outside, on the ceremonial platform, the crystals flashed. Judge Vornar gasped. "It's happening." The ground rumbled. Then light exploded from the circle. Ethan and Celira appeared hand in hand. Alive. Together. The crowd fell to their knees. Even the nobles could not deny what they saw. Their breath had merged. Their souls had touched. They were one. Vornar stepped forward and declared, "The trial of heart is complete. The bond is true. He is her chosen mate." But from the shadows, Lady Virexa stepped back, face full of rage. "Then I have no choice." She pressed a hidden blade to her wrist and vanished into the dark, leaving behind one final threat. The celebration had already begun. After the final trial, the people of Zelvar 9 gathered in the Grand Hall of Stars, an ancient place where unions were once sealed with songs, not wars. Lanterns floated high in the air. Alien children danced. Even warriors smiled. But Ethan didn't feel safe. Not yet. He stood beside Celira, both dressed in ceremonial robes. Her skin glowed again, soft silver under the lights. She looked stronger now, but he could still see the warning in her eyes. "Something's wrong," she whispered. He nodded. "She's not done." They both knew who she was, Lady Virexa, Celira's aunt, the one who tried to poison her, who had vanished after the failed trials. Judge Vornar raised a golden staff. "Today, the bond of breath becomes the bond of fire and light. By this right, two become one, not only in law, but in life." The crowd cheered. Celira turned to Ethan, offering her hand. But before he could take it, boom! The ceiling shattered. Flames fell like stars. Screams echoed. Dark smoke rose from the side of the hall, and from it, Lady Virexa stepped forward, dressed in war armor, her eyes glowing red with fury. "This union is a lie," she shouted. "You crown a Terran as prince, you stain our blood." Guards rushed forward, but she raised her hand. A massive beast leapt from the shadows, twice as large as the one from Ethan's first trial. But this one wasn't a test. It was meant to kill. Ethan stood in front of Celira. "Go, I'll stop." "It, no!" She grabbed his arm. "We stop it. Together." They ran side by side. The creature roared, smashing the stone floor. Ethan grabbed a fallen spear. Celira raised her palm. Her bloodline still gave her power. Together, they attacked. Ethan struck from the front, dodging claws. Celira used her energy to blind it, to freeze its steps. The beast howled, but they didn't stop. At last, Ethan saw an opening. He drove the spear straight through its heart. It collapsed with a final cry. The hall fell silent. Lady Virexa stepped back, rage turning to fear. "You were just a man." Ethan walked toward her, chest rising with each breath. "And you were just afraid of love." She tried to run, but Judge Vornar stopped her with a single command. "Lady Virexa, by the laws of the ancient bond, you are stripped of title and name. You endangered the life of the heir and broke the sanctity of the trials. You are no longer of the blood." The guards dragged her away, this time for good. That night, under the stars of Zelvar 9, the ceremony was completed. Celira and Ethan stood beneath the light arch, two glowing trees twisted together above them. "Speak the final vow," said Vornar. Ethan looked into Celira's eyes. "I gave you my breath when you had none. Now I give you my heart." She smiled. "You entered my mind when I was lost. Now I give you my soul." The light arch glowed gold. A soft wind circled them. Their robes lifted. Their skin shimmered. People of Zelvar 9 bowed, not because Ethan was strong or clever or royal, but because he had loved without asking for anything in return. And that kind of love, even in alien worlds, was rare. Later, as they stood alone on the balcony, Celira leaned against him. "So," she whispered, "still think this was just a repair job?" Ethan laughed softly. "Definitely more complicated than fixing a broken power core." She smiled. "And yet, you fixed me." He turned to her, holding her hand. "No, Celira, we fixed each other." Above them, two moons crossed paths, and in their glow, two souls stood together, no longer alien, no longer alone, just one breath shared forever.